True Train 88. This ain't no ordinary ride. We roll with legacy, love, and fire in our bones. Let's go. Hey. True Train 88. This ain't no ordinary ride. We roll with legacy, love, and fire in our bones. Let's go. Let's go. Boots on the ground, banjo in my hand. True train rolling through this promised land. Chief Mike lit the torch, now sheepdog lead. Matriarch's grace, yeah, that's all we need. Fiddle crying like a spirit in the wind. Bass thumping like the truth setting in. We don't follow trends, we follow the flame. True Train 88, remember the name. True Train 88, rolling through the night, guided by the chief, we're rising to the light. With the matriarch's grace, we stand as one. The power of the sheepdog love, our rising sun. OCO, we gather hearts open wide. Doogie in motion, love as a guide. GVUE, we sing to the sky. Holy hill is deep, joy never dies. Red cardinal flying, wings in the breeze. Banjo strumming like a prayer on his knees. You carry the promise, you carry the flame. In our rising tribe, we call your name. Wide old matriarch, for your sacred way, your generosity lights our day. Your grace is the fire in our tribal dream. Your love flows strong in every stream. Trail, healing frequencies rise like steam. True Train 88, this ain't no dream. True Train 88, we ride with the flame. True Train 88, we rise in a name. GVUE, the journey goes on. In the power of love, we are never gone.
True Train 88, this ain't no game. Glad to have everybody here. How was everybody doing tonight?
We're doing good from Idaho. We're doing good.
That's awesome. It's Idaho.
That's right.
Everybody's true. Glad to have everybody here. I hope everybody, what's today, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. Hope everybody has some plans to spend some time with some family this week, or maybe themselves, right? Some people just like to be by themselves, right? So hope everybody takes advantage of this time with their family. And guess what? Can't bring politics into it this year because both parties suck. Y'all can't even argue with each other this year. Yeah, it's
Oh.
good.
Both parties suck, and the government payment system swallows. Yes.
Oh, we suck again.
I'm gonna leave that right there. Keep it moving.
Well, let's just take a quick moment and send some good positive vibes to Nadine for hopefully her headache goes away and she starts to feeling better.
Oh, thank you. No, we're doing okay. I was just sending out the shows from YouTube and Rumble to Twitter and Facebook. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You weren't going to respond to my chain pull this early in the show?
No, too early. Maybe later.
Sorry, I do my best to stay out of the current affairs stack because I get angry, I get wound up, and I go out and I take it out on the tractor or something and break a fence or whatever. But there's just so much coming at us so fast. The level of corruption in DC, it's a nation state. It's not part of our nation, and it's just a theft ring. And so this dissonance still happens to me, where I'm like, is there any good thing that has come out of Washington since what? Jackson? I think Andrew Jackson was the last guy who really tried to come in and make a massive change. But yes, politics aside, if we're going to talk about the Jedi Code this evening, which is not a political code, by the way.
That sounds interesting. We talked about some crazy shit this morning that I don't really want to do on live shows. I'd rather much do it on a personal level because it's not for everybody. Some people just can't handle it. You can't handle the truth. You want the truth? Some people can't handle it, right?
So you ordered the code red this morning? Is that what you're telling me?
And we were talking about some pretty deep shit this morning. We were talking about aliens and different. No, I want to hear the Jedi.
Well, the Jedis are aliens, right? They're trapped. We want to just dive in. We want to go Jedi first here. Want to do that?
Yeah, let's go jump in.
Okay. I was talking to Bert about this, and I consider myself to be sort of a mind trick guy, to say the least. I spent a lot of years working in a lot of very tense situations. Durendal lives in this. When the problem is that the systems are down, everybody wants them to be up. Scotty, give me light speed and warp speed in 2 seconds, and we're all dead, kind of stuff. And the Jedi are always calm, cool, and collected. And if you're a Star Wars geek at all, then you know that the Jedi, it doesn't take a 1,000 Jedi. It just takes like one Jedi. So there are two Jedi. The Jedi are like a super powerful. They've got the mind tricks. They can use the Force. They can move objects without physically touching them. They have advanced capabilities, right? Well, I was thinking about how to tie the Jedi into Thanksgiving. So here's my hypothesis. I see that screen up there. Is this what is this you've got, Mike? This is the code. Can you make that bigger?
Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can stretch it out.
There you go.
There you go.
I wanted Sheepdog to see the blue and the red sides of this, and then the purple in the middle.
For Force.
Yes.
Sheepdog, that's too small for my eyes to read. Can you read that for me? What is the Jedi code? What's this say?
Yeah, I'm kind of.
I got it. I'll give it in Durendal voice.
There we go.
There is no good without evil. but evil must not be allowed to flourish. There is passion, yet peace, serenity, yet emotion, chaos, yet order. There is no dark side, nor the light side. There is only the force.
And this is very much the same message that, going back however far, when I was doing shows with Mike, and the messages I bring forward most often are about an awakening of sorts, a piece of information that might break some of your understanding. You're standing under the matrix because we're in it. When you have to send in the Jedi, that's when stuff is going sideways, right? And the Jedi is, everything is two things. There's a red and a blue, much as we see, and the purple. I'm a little colorblind, so thank you. I assume that the bottom portion of that was purple, or the force at least, because that was a different color. But my point is that this is about frequency and engagement and mantra. So if you're heading into the holiday season, and there's that grudge that you've got against the cousin that might be there, you are standing in the way of the force. You're letting that emotion overcome a prediction of what is going to happen. And that's we're getting way ahead of myself in my notes here, but the correct use of a code, whether a code like a binary code is a left or a right, it's a 0 or a 1. And even though all this quantum stuff we're very deep in it, it's still based on binary code. We are not writing real programs in quantum code. It's just not happening, despite what David would say if he were in the show with us. And if you missed those David shows, go back and watch them. They're very interesting. So here's my hypothesis. Let's start here. What if the American Indians, the indigenous on any given continent, are actually the remnant of the Jedi? Because the whole Star Wars thing, predictive programming, there's a lot of predictive programming out there. It's all the movies, and Star Wars is one of the largest Hollywood productions of its time. I remember waiting in line for the first Star Wars movie on the first day. I'm that old. And do you remember that? Were you in that crew, Mike?
I was.
Yes, oh yeah, we're that age.
So in the theater,
I think it was my very first movie in a theater ever.
Okay, so that's just even a bigger rock in the pond here about predictive programming. And what is the verbiage, the opening scene of the very first Star Wars movie? What's that text that goes by? What's the description of what we're about to see?
In a galaxy far, far away.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a battle between good and evil. The only thing that stood in a hindrance of that evil was a remnant of Jedi. We could just take the whole show down to the Hopi prophecy and do 90 minutes on that right now, but we'll save that for farther into the holiday season. So the Four Winds prophecy from the Hopi is a very hopeful prophecy. So what if the Jedi are the remnant, or the indigenous are the remnant of the Jedi? Dorinda, will you pull up my locals post, because my notes are in there? And
On my way, hang on.
Yeah,
so
like
there has been some.
the Hopi women's hair is just like Princess Leia's.
Yeah.
Yes.
Say that again. The Hopi women's what?
Hair.
It's like Princess
Hair.
Leia's, but it's a little different, a little more bigger and stuff, but just like
Yeah.
Princess Leia's.
I can probably bring up a picture of that. It's interesting because when I first saw the Hopi woman with her hair that way, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Princess Leia. And then we're learning about all the frequencies in our hair and the way it's, whichever side of the head you put it on, or both, that you're pulling in all the frequency. I just thought that just drew me into the story even more.
Well, Amidala, Princess Amidala, is the real one that looks exactly like that Hopi, the Hopi
Mm-hmm.
hairdress that you're talking about. So that's a great catch, Mrs. Sheepdog.
Very great catch.
Hey, Durandal, hit Control Plus 2 more times for me and make that bigger, would you? Okay, so let's go back to what our Jedi Code told us. This is what I did my notes with AI because I was a little behind in getting ready for the show today. It's gotten cold here on the ranch, and that makes everything 3 times harder. So the Jedi Code is a set of principles guiding the Jedi Order, most famously summarized as there is no emotion, there is peace, there is no ignorance, there is knowledge, there is no passion, there is serenity, there is no chaos, there is harmony, there is no death, there is the Force. It's not meant to eliminate emotions or death, but rather to help a Jedi master them and overcome the temptations to the fall to the dark side, which stems from unmastered feelings like fear and anger. The purpose of the code serves as a mental guide for the Jedi to maintain self-control, find inner peace, and act in harmony with the Force, especially in stressful or dangerous situations. The meaning of the lines, the lines of the Jedi Code, and how many are there? What is it, 7? Is that a 7 number? Scroll back up there for me, Durandal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it 6 with there as Force? No, it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a handful of edicts, a single limb. That's why there's the dark Force, the dark and the light side. Each one, because there is a Sith code that is the opposite of the Jedi code. Just so you know.
It's the gray code, I think. The gray code for the Jedi is a little bit different, a little bit darker.
Yeah. So there is no emotion. For example, there is no emotion, there is peace. Doesn't mean feeling no emotion, but rather controlling the destructive emotions and finding inner peace through discipline. So the application of the Jedi Code is used as a tool to stay centered, reminding the Jedi of their principles like peace, knowledge, harmony, and preventing them from succumbing to fear or anger. If you contrast this with the Sith Code, the Jedi Code aims for self-mastery, while the Sith Code encourages passion and strength as a path to power. So the complexity of this is that the code, its true meaning, has been lost to some over time, leading to the misinterpretations and strict rules that can push a Jedi towards the dark side. So if we look at this from a compare and contrast to what we're going through today, there are things that could pull you away from your Jedi center. You know, and this could be like chasing a credit score. I know a lot of people that hold up their credit score like, well, I've got a great credit score. Well, really? You know, that's a false thing. That's a fiat confidence. Your credit score is a fiat confidence because it's based on a fiat lie. Well, I went to the doctor and I got a wellness check. And he told me that I was probably okay, but I should take this pill just in case. But that is a loss to the Sith. And I'm not slamming people that take prescriptions. I'm not saying that. I take prescriptions. You know, they're just, you know, marijuana and Pabst Blue Ribbon. So I have a different apothecary in my house. I use oils and tinctures and teas and all of those things. So as we look at the teachings that I learned, all of my holistic healing methods are based on very old family documents and pioneering ways and people like Dr. Robert Young, who are the current science. So there has been a resurgence of information around the genetic lines of the indigenous peoples here in the U.S. and in other parts of the world. You know, everybody talks about that. Oh, there's this one tribe that's never engaged with humans. Well, that would be true if we'd never heard of them. But so there have been some recent findings confirming that there is a genetic link between the modern Picurus, the Pueblo people, and ancient inhabitants of the Chaco Canyon using ancient DNA. establishing a strong ancestral connection to the historic New Mexico site. This groundbreaking research also reveals a complex multi-wave migration history from Asia, with evidence of both direct descendants and later migrations back across the Bering Strait, influencing Native American ancestry. So if we look at the link between modern and ancient Pueblo people, there's a strong genetic connection. A recent study found that 13 current members, like today, of the Picuras Pueblo share close genetic links with 16 individuals who lived in or near Chaco Canyon between 1300 and 1500 AD. So 1,000 years ago, basically. This confirmation is through the oral history. Our audience here, the remnant of the Mike Penny audience and our Gandalf audience, the Royal Room audience, all of us here, we all know that there's a big indigenous information pool that we have very little access to. And that is the spoken history that is handed down from generation to generation within the Sweat Lodge and the igloo and the Amazon rainforest structure, whatever they use. I don't know what thatch huts. That would be a thatch hut. So this research provides genetic evidence to support the oral histories and artifacts that long suggested a connection between the Picuras Pueblo and the Chaco Canyon site. The model for the future research, I wouldn't have included this, but I asked AI. The study is presented as a model for equitable scientific okay. The broader implications for this Native American ancestry. Remember, my hypothesis here is that the American Indians are the remnant of the Jedi. And I think I might have something. DNA analysis is revealing that the peopling of the Americas was more complex than previously thought, involving multiple migration waves and even back migrations. So the ancient Berengenians, the ancient Berengenian group, for instance, remained in the far north for thousands of years before their descendants dispersed. This was a multi-wave migration. The studies have identified at least 3 major migration events from Asia and also show that some populations traveled back to Asia, showing a 2-way traffic across the Bering Strait. Remember, the Bering Strait used to have a land bridge before the tectonic plate shift. That was the last reset, the last large reset, which I think was a couple of thousand years ago. The 2-way traffic across the Bering Strait, this is the influence of the Asian populations. The findings show that the Native American ancestry comes not only from Siberia, but also from other parts of Asia, such as northern coastal China. So let's take a pause here for a second, because let's just say that I'm correct, and the indigenous, no matter where you are on which continent, that they are the remnant of the Jedi. Because if you've seen the Star Wars movie, the Jedi's come in all shapes and sizes. Even that the Rastafarian character wanted to be a Jedi. He didn't have the midichlorians for it. What was that guy's? Jar Jar Binks, that's his name. So my question is, if we're looking at the edicts and mantras that are set forth in the Jedi way, did the Jedi save the settlers? This is my Thanksgiving tie-in. Because what I know of Native American history, which I trust much more than the published history in history books, at least since the McGraw-Hill, when the Maxwells, yes, that Maxwell took over the publishing for our schools, which happened a very long time ago. So did the Indians exhibit Jedi-level traits when they saved the Americans? Because the settlers were going to freaking die on the coast, man. And the Jedi came out of the woods and taught them all sorts of cool stuff. Thanksgiving is not about us treating the American Indians to their first Sizzler dinner. It's about the American Indians saving our asses and teaching us how to survive in some of the harshest weather you can get in this nation, the New England coast. So did the Jedi, the Indians, save the Native Americans? Well, the Native Americans helped early settlers survive by teaching them crucial survival skills, including how to farm local crops, navigate the land, and hunt. The Wampanoag, for example, taught the Plymouth colonists how to cultivate maize, which is corn, beans and squash, a method known as the Three Sisters, which significantly improved their ability to feed the colony. The OSPE and the Topeka Capital Journal made this statement. Other skills like fishing, identifying edible plants, making tools that were also passed down, proving critical to the settlement survival, according to the National Library of Medicine and Field Museum. Farming. The Wampanoag, particularly for figures like Squanto, taught the Pilgrims how to plant corn, beans, and squash together for a more effective and sustainable harvest. That's called xeriscaping, is what we call that now, by the way. Productive crops that have a waste product to help the next crop. They also shared how to use fish and other natural materials as fertilizer. And the way they taught them was that you'd open the fish up and you would put the maize or the corn seeds in the fish, and then you would bury the fish. And the nitrogen from the fish helped actually keep the corn going, and it protected the harsh weather against the fertilization process of the seeds, allowing the corn to be actually grown. And if you can find heirloom corn, it is a completely different taste than that crap you get out of a can. Hunting and fishing. The Native Americans shared techniques for trapping animals and identifying where to find fish, where the vital food sources. They instructed them on which wild plants and berries were safe to eat and which were poisonous. In that same AI should have given me, there are many tinctures, teas, oils, and in homeopathic natural healing modalities that were also taught by the Indians. That settlers were taught how to navigate the new land by both water and land. And they shared a bunch of other skills with them, like tanning animal hides, using medical herbs, building shelters, and all that good stuff. So this is my hypothesis here. I'd like to run this around the table. Do we think that just like the Sith, they destroyed the Jedi, right? If you've seen the Star Wars movies, what was it, Directive 80, I think, that was kill all of the Jedi right now. There was yet another expungement of all of the historical narrative, all the old knowledge, the higher moral calling of coming to your brother's help, even though he's on a different world, the new world, the new world. So we're saving these people and all the indigenous are, because genetics has shown us this recently. That's sort of breaking news, that maybe the indigenous on every continent are the ones that got off on the escape pods when the moon was brought here as a ship, and the Jedi were on that, and they escaped and they abandoned down to Earth. And does that fall into your fallen angels narrative? I don't know. It's a little bit too far out. What do you think? Are the last of the Jedi the American Indians, the Aboriginal Indians, the Amazonian Indians? Does my goat bladder hold water?
Yeah, check that TikTok with that the Indian. He talks about them having ghost DNA from the
Let me pull it
Star
up.
people. Hold on one second.
Well, give me a second.
Give me a second.
Send it to me. Yeah, I'm not ready for that. Here, let me pull this up for you real quick. Gandalf, so I help you out here. And I got a little something on binary code too. It's a little geeky, but maybe it'll enlighten you that the motherboard is also representation of something else too. All right.
There it is.
So here we go. See the Hopi? Are we on screen? Oh, let me put me on screen here. Yeah, we're on screen. See that? Is that your Jedi?
Yeah.
So that's Amidala, Princess Amidala. In the that's the smaller buns are the ones that we see in the first movie with Carrie Fisher's character. But there's a much wider where the buns are facing forward. That is Prince Amidala in the third movie, and that woman in that picture is actually a shaman, based on my teachings on American history and what I know about what I know. So that's good stuff. That is not an American Indigenous Indian. That's a South Park character. Okay, there you go.
Oh, that's a good video. I'll share it with you later.
Thank you.
It's
And
funny.
they stay in the Hopi stay in the Grand Canyon, right? There's off limits to them.
She even looks like Carrie Fisher when she was 50.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll stay there for a minute. So I want to point a couple of things out. So this your hair, there's a in World War II there were a bunch of Indians that did code. There's a movie called Code Talkers, CODETALKERS, Code Talkers, and it's about these Indians that at threat of death preserved their language, and the Germans couldn't break it. Okay, so and when these Indians came into service, they were also using spiritual intuition, a Jedi Force move, to help their code making process. And when they cut their hair in boot camp, they lost the ability. So what you see in this picture, your hair is an antenna, and it feeds your pineal gland. So what has been constructed on either side of this woman's head are actual receiving and transmitting engagements with the aether across her heart chakra. She has this is a very in the center. You can't see my mouse. In the center of her heart chakra is a transmitting and collating device, and below her ears, those are metal. Those are probably a shiny copper right there. Those are a copper, and the beads in the center are going to be specifically groomed riverstone and pearl. So what's happening is all because her pineal's right in the middle of her head, right above her nose there. Yeah, right there. That's called the light out switch with the sniper. You hit that with a bullet and immediately they are gone. That's your pineal gland. And if you'll notice, there's a Fibonacci sequence that happens between all of these engagements. This is a powerful woman, and she's from Flats tribes, the mountain tribes. They have a someone that looks exactly like Amidala, even the face makeup in the third Star Wars movie, however you want to count them, and all of her stuff is facing forward because she's a broadcasting shaman. So this configuration of hair, metals, and jewelry is about receiving information, and the Amidala pick, which I hope you have queued up, is a broadcasting base because she's a ruler.
Yeah, what picture are you talking about, Gandalf? That you wish I had or something, so I can get it for you?
Okay,
There's
in the third Star Wars movie, what's her name plays Princess Amidala. It's the cast back to Who Becomes Darth Vader movie, and she has a headdress on when she is presenting, and there's an American Indian representation that is. I mean, it's exactly the same. It's exactly. I'll see if I can find it and send you a link. Give me a second. But this is my whole reinforcement to my hypothesis that that the American Indians. The more I talk about this, the more I convince myself.
There you go. The inspiration behind Star Wars Princess Leia's space buns. The inspiration behind space buns hairstyle and Native American women. This is an article from November 6, 2023. Unmarried Hopi women who wore their hair in a squash blossom or buns, which were hair wound around a piece of bone or wood, just like in Flintstones.
I found that picture.
Right? So now often cardboard. It showcased not only a unique and culturally significant hairstyle, but also a profound connection to the rich traditions and symbolism of the Hopi people. This intrinsic hairstyle was not just a fashion statement, but it was a reflection of the deep-rooted beliefs and customs that permeated Hopi society. The buns were a statement of a woman's unmarried status, fertility, and as well as a readiness for challenging ceremonies. Right. So in the Star Wars franchise, Princess Leia's iconic space buns hairstyle are often credited with being inspired by the squash blossom buns of the Hopi women. Carrie Fisher's buns are characterized by two buns. Everybody's got two buns, right? One, one of which each
Buns are
side of the head.
buns.
What?
Buns are
Shots fired!
buns.
Shots fired! So Carrie buns are so she's got two buns, one on each side of the head, and this style does share similarities with traditional hairstyles of some Native American tribes. These hairstyles carry cultural and spiritual significance in various Native American communities, and they are often intertwined with their history and identity. Some Native American women do wear their hair in buns, braids, or other distinctive styles, and it's essential to recognize and respect the cultural significance and diversity of these practices when discussing such similarities, and it's important to approach the subject with cultural awareness. Cultural appreciation, when done respectfully, involves acknowledging and learning about different cultures and their practices while giving credit to their origins and meanings. It's important to engage in meaningful dialogue and education about cultural diversity, borrowing and inspiration in popular culture to promote understanding and respect for the heritage of all communities, including the Native American cultures, right? So we
So
got
over in the
that one.
private chat, I sent you a link for a pic.
I got it. Hang on.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you'll kick him off if you do that. Just hang on a second.
Okay. You
All
want to
right.
grab a sheepdog?
Yeah, let me pull this up for you then. Well, hold on. Is this what you're talking about, Gandalf?
Yeah, there's one that is sort of is that the bun around her head? Yeah.
That's so that one is a Hollywood farce. It should be there's like almost dreidels. If you look in the Hasidic community, the very old Noahistic Jewish community, there's a dreidel, and it's the same representation of the hair as a spirit swirling antenna. If you look over in the private chat, Sheepdog, I sent you a link.
Yeah.
It should share.
We got it here too. We could pull it up. We
I
already
got
have
it. I got it. Hang on.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you
There
go.
you go.
That's
You
the
got
one.
it.
That's the Juan right there. That's the lawnmower, the Juan. All right, so this
He
is
looks like
this
a Joker.
Wow.
so this is
Like a jester.
Asian. This is Asian descent. Okay, this is Mongolia, which is Upper Asia into Russia, Eurasia, but this is also a look. There are metal. There's metal at the bottom. Those are scrolls that are the one on the left. Those are scrolls that are supposed to be the edicts of nation, if you know your Star Wars lore. If you look over to the one on the other side, there are many similarities here. So when we talk about predictive programming, this is what you would see in a ceremony that might include the Pindar. We want to go back to that Pindar show we did 2 years ago now. So this is the iconography, the dressage, the dressing, the ornamenture of the secret societies. If you ever watched the movie Eyes Wide Shut, which I did not, I'm not going to suscept my soul to that level of pornography, but I saw some clips, and this is what happens. There are masks. There's face painting. There are rituals, just like in the American Indian universe, and the Mongolian Indians, and the Sherpas, and all the peoples that have been around, passing verbal history from generation to generation. I know how to work on a tractor because my grandfather taught me how to work on a tractor, and I have a 60-year-old tractor, so it all works out just fine. This is the part of the knowledge that I was given to help me later in life, and guess what? It helps me today. So that I did ask AI for some notes regarding this, but those notes were driven by the things that I was asking for. So the iconography, the dressing, all of the pieces that are engaged with this make up a spiritual engagement, and this all ties in. The Hopi are the American Indians that are at the tip of the prophecy spear. But the Cherokee also have quite a bit to say about this. They actually had 13 nations and nation states within the Cherokee environment. They had a library of their Congress. They had a common language and they had a common token. That's why the Cherokee had to be erased. So, in finding Cherokee ornamenture around this and the prophecies of the Cherokee is almost impossible to find. It was all erased. So, but yes, that's the picture that I'm talking about. All these pieces have meaning. Look at the gold that's over her head, capturing. It's like a skull cap, fixing your pineal engagement, harmonizing your thoughts, and then allowing the production and transmission of those thoughts to others. Maybe
Yeah, it looks like the ovaries.
Or the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's like a representation of the ovaries. You see how the tubes go to the left and the tube goes to the right, the female part, right? It's also the justice pendulum, the scales, Lady Justice, right?
She
And I
does
wonder if this
look
look is the I'm single and ready to mingle look.
Yeah,
That's certainly what Darth.
Because we're talking about fertility, right?
yes.
That's what this is, all of it.
It's partially fertility. Fertility is ingrained. Fertility for crops. Fertility for furthering the organization of your tribe. We talk about, like, my family's from Arkansas. Marrying your cousin is about the third, fourth, or fifth rule, because those might be the only people that you've ever seen. One of the things that the Cherokee and the Hopi did very effectively is that they would trade sires with their horses, their cows, and their women. And in the Indian society, American Indian society, if you want to get divorced and you're a woman, you literally just put all your guys' shit outside of the teepee, and the entire community knows you're done. So the force of female power, the Gaia, the harmony of this ovarian harmony, right? Yes, it is about reproduction for people, plants, and animals. Yes.
Yeah, women will still put your clothes out on the driveway and light them on fire and call the cops. So that shit's still taking place. And the people don't even realize, the women don't even realize why they're doing it. It's probably because it's in your DNA.
That was
That's
my
right, because you've given chance after chance after a chance, and then it's like no change. It's like, all right, sorry, mofo. I explained this to you. You've talked, and then all of a sudden one night you come home and your stuff is outside. So it's no, there's been thought behind it. It doesn't just happen. Sometimes it will, but most of the time it does not just happen.
I'll take your word for it.
Well, this conversation changed, didn't it?
Yeah, Nadine's ready for that. Well, she
Yeah, she is.
experienced.
Hey, I know how it goes, and it's like it's not always. There's been chance after chance after chance most of the time, so it's not like we're all just no.
Yeah, you even yeah.
There's a lightsaber joke, but I'm not going to make it.
Oh shit! Let me
So
go
if
ahead
you
and play
watch
this.
my content, I always talk about how Native Americans have ties to extraterrestrials, how we have ghost DNA, maybe it's Nephilim blood or Sky People blood. Either way, we have a unique genetic makeup. And here's the ex-CIA director talking about how specifically Iroquoian-speaking people of Cherokee have this type of DNA.
So the second part is about CIA's interest in alien DNA. And the historian said that we had an interest in alien DNA going back since World War II. Now, it didn't say that they completely knew about the alien DNA genome, because that technology didn't happen until the 1990s. But there was an interest in some aspect of genetics. Yes, absolutely. Dealing with alien DNA. And more profound was that CIA was interested in certain humans that may have had an enhancement of this alien DNA. That is to say that basically we're all aliens in some respect. But some of us, some humans, have an enhancement of the alien DNA. And that was the first time I ever heard that. To me, that was the most shocking thing I ever heard of. I didn't know that.
Why were they so interested in the DNA of extraterrestrials and the DNA of humans that may contain extraterrestrials for maybe enhancements? I don't know.
There's a cognizance, I believe, within the intelligence community, particularly CIA, that there are humans among us that might be more extraterrestrial than human. And how do you identify them? That could be a major factor why we're interested in that. And there's also the, I guess you would call contact tracing of like who's who.
Right.
And so what they did reveal that there was an interest in certain families.
How would you understand families?
I understand families to mean bloodlines.
Right.
That they were interested in certain bloodlines going back to
Ancient times.
who knows, ancient times.
Did they mention other heritages around the planet that through this marker?
I was specifically told that the Cherokee heritage, the Cherokee nation, had something to do with the phenomena, and furthermore, that it has something to do with perhaps even the actual existence of Atlantis.
So did you hear what he said? He was saying that the CIA was interested in these bloodlines that go back to ancient times and possibly even Atlantis. So when you hear all this information coming out online, you're going to realize that there's a lot of people taking advantage of the fact of this day and age we're in, of exposing new information and putting people onto the truth. So you got a lot of liars out there that are saying they're the Indians and all that. Listen, take a DNA test. If you don't have undetermined DNA or unknown DNA, you don't have what we're talking about. Native Americans are the ones that have the unknown or undetermined DNA. Half of us, they don't even know our DNA, what it is, who it is, but we do. It's the sky people or the star people, what you guys would call the Nephilim. We are the original humans, and this is just another one to add for more evidence, more proof. Go ahead and repost this, y'all.
So I want to say, I don't know if y'all can hear me. They keep saying like Native American, but you don't hear me? So
There.
yeah, they keep saying Native American, but what we got to understand that all these lands here where we're at, there's nothing new under the sun. We're all one at one point. So you can't just say that the DNA is only here in America. First off, right? There's no containing it, right? So it would be South America, North America, Canada, China, Russia. It could be, everyone that's native to those lands at that moment in time. We all came from the one, right? However, the DNA's had been manipulated.
Right. From the sky people, like he said, the Native American have the ghost DNA, which is from the angelic, right? Which they call the Nephilim in the Bible, but they're actually from the angels. So,
Right.
The DNA is manipulated as recently as the last 5 years. The mRNA injections, genetic engagements, the whole 23andMe data breach side with the digital cloning within AI centers that are being built right now. This is not a brand new war. What's post 4966 say? Your DNA. Protect your DNA. It's very, very important. Your DNA is an antenna.
Yep. And they're wanting to give you to give up your DNA also to be healed of cancer through AI. I mean, technology can do some amazing things, but at what cost is it going to do it? And in whose hands? Larry Ellison? Do you trust that dude? Right.
Like the hope you talk about, the sky people coming down. They're going to come down, and everything they'll heal the land, which will heal us. So they talk about these. We go listen to Hopi prophecy, but they're only allowed to do something up to a point, and then the sky people will come.
So one of the first shows I was ever on the Patriot Party News a million years ago. First time I was ever on with Mike. I was having a conversation. We were having a conversation about somebody, and I can't remember. I think it was Larry Ellison, which triggered my memory. And Warren says, "Well, what do you think about that guy?" And I barged in and said, "You don't get that high up the food chain without eating a kid."
That's right.
Damn. Yeah, that or dog shit.
Well, the dog shit
poop too.
No, that's the first ceremony, bro. Yeah, you have to. So when you get inducted,
it's the Fear Factor show with Joe Rogan all over.
It is. They normalized it. I love that you know that. So the first induction ceremony, when you know you're in the shit, it's one of the reasons it's a phrase, is because you have to show up at this dinner and you think you're going to get this big prize and get into the club, and everybody in the room takes a shit on a plate, and you have to eat the shit in front of them. That is a real a secret society ritual. That is a real thing. And if you gasp or choke, they beat the crap out of you. The Black Eye Club.
I'm glad I ate dinner before this show.
It's definitely one way to get the parasites. Like, they know the parasites are in you. Oof, that's terrible. That's your first meeting with these idiots?
Well, I don't know about the first, but along the journey, the first one is really nice. It's like the saying, right? When you go politicians and they tell you they're going to do all this great shit for you, and then you vote for them and they do opposite. That's what's going on. That same shit.
So the first meeting is the cash the check meeting. That's when they come to you and say, well, we're going to put you on TV, or we're going to put you in DC, or we're going to put you in the C-suite,
Like
or we're going to put you on the Bitcoin train.
Like when Satan took Jesus to the mountain and said, I give you all this, because even the devil can bless you.
Yes, that's the second of the 3 challenges. That is correct. So I love that you know that. So the first meeting is about the check. There's an old joke that I'll tell that will encompass all of this. There was once a man who was walking across the street, and against all of the laws of the universe, he was struck dead by a roving bus. So he comes up to the gates of St. Peter, and St. Peter says, dude, you're not supposed to be here. You're not scheduled to be here for quite some time, as a matter of fact. So you get the choice that very few get. You can choose. You want to go to heaven or you want to go to hell? So the guy says, well, I don't know. I don't know. I have never seen these places before. So he's given 24 hours to roam around heaven, and there's not a lot going on. There's a lot of napping on clouds. It's not exactly a 24-hour action joint, and there's no darkness. The light of the Lamb shines across heaven in all hours of all days for all eternity. So, he's got a problem with that. And so he takes a second day and he goes down to hell. And he gets there and it's like Vegas on taxpayer money. Oh my God. Everything you want, every debauchery, everything you've ever desired is immediately in front of you. Well, the guy finishes his day in Vegas. He's a little hungover. He shows up in front of St. Peter, and St. Peter says, what are you doing? He says, yo, I'm going down, baby. It is fantastic. A second later, he's up to his neck in boiling refuse. Boiling refuse. It is agony. And the guy looks over at Satan and says, whoa, what's up? And where's the thing we had yesterday? And Satan looks at him and says, oh, you were a prospect then. Now you're a client.
So,
Yeah.
remember that one with the voting? It was like that.
Yeah. So it's like, the Bohemian Grove thing. What do you think they're doing there to those guys? In order to get them contracts, they got to do this game called Pagan. I don't know if it's called Pagan, right? You got to lose your virginity somewhere if you're a man, somewhere because if that's been tampered with, you can't be king.
Yeah, that rapper talks about that. Oh.
Yeah, there's probably a green,
if they diddled your diddler,
green proboscis.
Yeah, you go to Bohemian Grove and then out comes P. Diddy.
And the lube is extra. You got to pay for the lube.
Well, there's no shortage when he's around. Yeah, that's for sure. Oh, the video. Yeah, so you don't get them contracts because you're just so talented, right? It's definitely an initiation process. But here's the Hopi Underground. This goes all the way to the Grand Canyon, Kiva, Southwest Legend, right? The Grand Canyon's huge.
Great pull, Sheep. Great pull.
Entire civilization thriving underneath the soil, quarreling and carrying on wars unseen by human eyes. What if your own ancestors emerged from the earth itself, guided by divine beings and mythic birds? According to the oral history of the Hopi nation, this fantastical scenario is precisely what occurred countless seasons ago. Back then, their forefathers were not the noble stewards of the vivid mesa landscapes found in Arizona today. Rather, they inhabited a strange subterranean realm deep below the ground. What follows is the story of the Hopi people and their miraculous emergence into the light of day through a sacred opening still revered in their culture. Journey with us as we recount this stirring legend from a time when birds and gods walked among men below ground and directed their destiny above it. Hi, I am your desert frontiersman, Alan. If you enjoy this, leave a like or comment. For more Southwest exploration, hit the subscribe button. The oral history of the Hopi people stretches back countless generations. In the time of their grandfathers' grandfathers, the Hopi ancestors all lived together underground in the center of the earth. Life was more harmonious then. They would spend their days blissfully playing in the willow thickets along winding streams. But over many seasons and snows, discontent festered among the people. Quarrels broke out frequently. Game animals grew impossibly scarce, leading to rampant hunger. Crops withered no matter how diligently they were tended. Strange sicknesses claimed the lives of Hopi children at alarming rates. Meanwhile, wars between rival tribes under the earth were nearly endless. Warriors would return to the villages wounded and empty-handed. As life deteriorated, the elders held council meetings to try to ease their people's suffering, but nothing improved. Finally, the most ancient and venerated chief called a council of all the good people that remained. In attendance were divine beings like Spider-Woman, the nurturing Earth Mother, as well as the fierce twin war gods Pukong Hoya and Balunga Hoya. The elder chief solemnly addressed the grim assembly, saying, "For too many moons..."
So when they say Spider Woman, you're thinking Charlotte's Web,
Remember? She had all those little
the
babies.
and the net, DNET, the net.
And that is when
What a spider. So that's the net. It's the mother. Spider Woman, woman. It's
yeah,
like a
that's what
spider. They describe things in nature to describe what they seen
that's what the indigenous
in the
talk about
unseen.
the net.
The net, right? So I just wanted to remember.
Well, wait. Before you go on,
Interesting.
if you look around that
It's
council, you
interesting.
can tell by the headdresses. You can tell by the headdresses how many men there
The
are.
elder chief solemnly addressed the grim assembly, saying, "For too many moons we have only filled the air with empty words and complaints, rather than meaningfully acting to change our situation. If there is another world above us, it cannot possibly be more unfriendly or harsh than our current existence here. The time has come to send a scout to investigate if there is a better place we can migrate to." The council agreed to use their sacred magical powers to shape a small bird named Matsni from a mixture of water and clay. Brought to life via their songs and prayers, the tiny bird loyally asked how it could serve them. The elder instructed Matsni to fly up through the darkness as high as possible beyond their sun to search diligently for an entrance to the upper world. Flapping its new wings mightily, Matsni swiftly departed. As the people anxiously awaited their scout's return, the chiefs finalized a contingency plan to deal with the evil ones. If there was indeed a new world they could move to, they would cause a great flood to exterminate their sworn enemies, along with giant serpents that would devour any other dissenters. Eventually, Matsni returned completely exhausted, despairing that it was too tiny and weak to locate any upper world openings. So the council created another bird, the larger, brawnier mockingbird, indestructible and fearless. The mockingbird soared ever higher through the gloom until it miraculously discovered a small opening. Passing through, it found itself emerging into what is now called the Grand Canyon, surrounded by beauty. When the jubilant mockingbird related its incredible discovery, The crier chief rapidly spread the word that all good people must prepare to migrate to this new land of promise in 4 days' time. On the fated morning, the entire nation gathered beneath the precious opening that led outside their gloomy underground domain. The wise chiefs transformed a pine seed into a towering tree, but found it too frail to bear much weight. They attempted this process twice more, but still the trees were not sturdy enough for the entire tribe. Finally, Spider-Woman and the fierce war god scrambled up the intertwined pines and out the opening. As members of the spiritual underworld entered the towering Great Canyon, they were each assigned a place and language by the mocking bird. Some were designated as Navajo and given the Navajo tongue. Others became Hopi and were granted the Hopi language. This mythical bird granted not just Native American tribes their lands and languages, but all peoples across the world, including white Europeans. Every community worldwide was believed to have received their homeland and native speech from this one legendary bird. However, the overtaxed mockingbird eventually grew far too exhausted to keep apportioning lands and tongues. Some late ascending clans were forced to turn back, condemned to wander the depths forever. This mythic opening to the upper world remained sacred to the Hopi, who still refer to it as Sipapu. All their villages contain symbolic stone shrine kivas representing Sipapu, reminding them of their glorious deliverance into this wondrous world where they now reside. I hope you enjoyed this South.
So all that is in the physical, but it's also in the spiritual, right? They had to plant the pine. Why was it a pine? The pineal that took them to the upper where the light is, through the little portal, the hole, right? It showed you the circle. I mean, it's not, but spiritually speaking, it's all the same language, right? Is what they're trying to.
Yes.
But they say it in a way in the physical, just like the Bible,
Physical.
just like in the Bible, right?
Oh,
He took water and clay. So that's what they just said in this video as well, right?
So the Spider Woman is the only female character in the council, and her representation is a link to Gaia, as is best known in our current terminology, or to Mother Earth, or whatever it may be. And it's interesting. That's a really good representation of that history as spoken by the Hopi. Well done, Sheepdog. Uh, the female engagement must be balanced into the male. There's a quote from the center of the Cherokee Nation that is a demanding a judgment of having wise female counsel in the circle of elders. And there's only one woman, and she is the Spider Woman. So it's about a link because man cannot engage because man is by violence and women and a woman is by birth. It goes back to that uterine headdress that you were pointing out, I don't know, 22 minutes ago, Sheepdog. So it all ties together. You see in that graphic that we have right in front of us, that's the Spider Woman on the right. You can tell because she has a different headdress and she has wider hips. And the one to the left is the one who is the leader of council and the lead warrior. And yes, they are flying to the pine tree, flying to the pineal. It's exactly correct. Sorry to barge in.
Yeah, so we took Spider-Woman and did what? Made it Spider-Man,
yep.
right? Put him in a red and blue outfit, the red and blue, right? But that's the Christ. The man is Christ. The woman is the assembly of the church. That's the creator, co-creators.
There was even a movie that's Into the Spider-Verse, which is 7 different versions of Spider-Man, or 6, if I recall, watching that with my now 24-year-old son when it came out when he was a teen. I didn't even thought about this Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, red blue thing.
Well,
wow.
Mario Brothers, Superman, they all represent the JC, the Jesus Christ figure in the Freemasonry, right? Magnetism, electricity, and magnetism, red and blue, like on a magnet. North Pole, South Pole.
Right.
Negative, positive.
The indigenous have a story about the Spider Woman as well. how she wove the net, kind of like in
Yeah,
kind of tell you in
because the
the
wisdom comes from a woman,
what's it called?
from the energy is what I'm saying. Not like
Charlotte's Web, right?
right.
And she had all
Hmm.
the children and then left it to Wilbur to take care of. She made all
Wilbur.
those signs in
Hmm.
the web.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's Ethernet
Yes.
and the ether, right? So they had to climb the damn pine right into enlightenment. They had to come from the bottom world to the upper. They had to go right, and then
So
boom.
we talked about the Jedi Code. Right? So there's a thing in the Cherokee universe and the Hopi universe where if you want to become a shaman, you have to progress through the 33 steps. There are
That's
33
funny because
vertebrae.
and bird equals 33 in gematria.
I just love this show. What a great show. So I did not expect it to go this way when I was making my notes earlier. I just love this. So what you're supposed to do if you're a shaman is to become a shaman is that you sit in the sweat lodge and you take what we would consider to be psychedelics in one form or depending on the toxicity. And I have lodged the sweat in my day. It is it's probably the healthiest thing you can possibly do for your body. Um, you have to go through 33 steps of engagement before you can be deemed a shaman under the legal architecture of the Cherokee before they were demolished and disbanded. The Cherokee had their own library. They had 13 nation states. They had an entire society that was a slap across the middle of America. And the history that we read will tell you that the Cherokee were only in a couple of places. That's not true. So it's just not true. So the 33-point engagement, everything is two things. We looked at the Jedi Code earlier, and peace is violence, and less controlled under emotional set. So this is what the shaman was supposed to be able to do. He was supposed to be able to bring forward a reasonable engagement based on the energy of the environment. In this all, the iconography, the dressage, everything. And I know dressage is a horse term. I have horses, but it also is about us as the beasts of burden in the emotional realm that we live within. But I keep going, sheepdog. I'll stop barging in. Well, probably not stop barging in, but
Now the door stays open, so you don't have to worry about barging in. But here we go, right? Celtics, right? Larry Bird. Bird equals 33. What are the odds? How did he know that? Oh, because they go through the initiation process, right? They know all this stuff. Magic Johnson. So you could look. So when I seen this, I was like, what? I wonder if he knows that in gematria, bird equals 33. Right? So this Celtics. It's all, no matter what the mythology or
Right.
whatever the genre, it's all the same. It's all universal,
Celtics.
right? So they took the universal and they made it into different religions with names and different characters because your religion is based on where you're born. That's it, right?
Exactly.
So
so
that's given. Yeah,
this really gets deep quick here, sheepdog.
you got
This is
waiters on,
slippery
right?
slope. Well,
You got
what's about? But we go back to the DNA post 4966. One of the posts I have memorized just because I know it says protect your DNA. It's the most important thing you can do. All of us in this audience, myself included, I'm an audience of this show. I do real work around this process. All of us are looking for this ascension level thing, right? It's supposed to happen in a flash, and before you know it, we'll all be living 1,000 years. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the only way that we learn and we move forward, this is going to take a generation. We the truth seekers, the War Room guys, are out here doing the best that we can to make this a real thing and help open people's eyes. Gematria is part of this. I tell you, I am not a gematria person. I'm not a Q guy, except for a couple of exceptions. And I'm not a gematria guy, just because I don't have the bandwidth for it. I'm so thankful that Sheep has done his homework here. Tell me about
Yeah, I've been looking at this
255.
for a few years.
We're not keeping.
So when you're talking about generations, right? You're talking about generations, and I remember you opened it up at the beginning of the show. You were talking about binary code, right? This is binary code in your face, and here you are right here, right? This is your mom and dad. Your mom and dad have a mom and dad, right? Those mom and dads and those mom and dads have a mom and dad. That's 8, and it goes all the way back to 128, your ancestors, to 255. So that's how many people, generations it took, or people, you can do the math to get you here to this one. Just one person, you. It took this many generations. You can go this many generations back. And this is on the motherboard, right? It's on the computer.
Yes.
It's even the computer can't even.
So you know this is the primary sequence to build a blockchain. Did you know that? I am a tech guy. This is the primary sequence to build a 128-bit blockchain. The initial transaction is the 1. You want to back me up on this, Durandal?
Yeah, Neo.
This is a
Neo
blockchain
is
build
1.
unit. Yes, you are the 1, Neo.
Yeah.
You are the 1. The 128 is the false you. The 128 is the false you, the hidden you.
Right here. All the way back. So this is your grandma. This is your great-great-grandma. This is your great-great-grandma. Great-great-great-great-grandma. Then you keep this going back. It just goes back. Because everything splits, because it took your mom and dad to get you here. So your mom and dad have a mom and dad. So that's 8.
Because the computer is mimics us.
And then
so it's all based off of us,
right.
the human body.
Mm-hmm. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah.
Like I said, we're the original computer.
55.
We're the quantum computer.
An on switch means a 1, and an off switch means a 0. Now is a good time to mention that a single transistor is what's known as a bit, which stands for binary digit.
Bitcoin.
A byte is 8 of these bits in a row, which means any number between 0 and 255. So if binary is just a system of counting, what do people mean when they explain how to spell things in binary? Well, what they really mean is how to spell things with ASCII. The American Standard Code for Information Interchange is a way to convert a computer's data, which can only be in numbers, and turn it into letters for humans to have an easier time to work with. ASCII simply assigns a character to each value represented by a byte of binary. And because a byte has 8 digits of binary to work with, and 8 digits of binary can represent up to 255 values, ASCII had 255 letters and symbols to choose from, more than enough for the entire alphabet, punctuation marks, and other symbols. For example, the corresponding ASCII number for an uppercase A is 65. Now, 65 in base 10 is equal to 1,000,001 in binary. So whenever you type in an uppercase A in a word program, a coding program, or a scripting program, or whatever, somewhere there's a little tiny row of 8 transistors arranged in the pattern of off, on, off, 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 on, which represents 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 in binary, which is interpreted as 65 in base 10, which is converted by ASCII into an uppercase A. You're likely starting to get a feel for the staggering amount of transistors required to write something as simple as a Facebook status, let alone all the different coding that your computer has to do to make the screen light up, play games, calculate massive values, and so on. Well, long before we got to the point where your phone can play 3-dimensional games, it became clear that numbers as high as 255 just weren't going to cut it. Regardless of how many bytes we had, and it was a lot, even adding 4 fully active bytes together could only get a number as high as 1020. To solve this problem,
1020 is 10 and 2. Mickey Mouse clock. 10, 20, 10 and 2. I don't know.
So, Sheepdog, I got a question for you. I know you do this thing on Telegram in the morning, and I'm not on Telegram. I don't have the bandwidth for it. But Sheepdog's team does a great job. And what's that Telegram channel? Is that the Roar Room? Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Same name as the show.
Okay. So I'm assuming that you guys have covered the digital cloning thing, right? And I tried to throw some of this into the chat. There's here, let me do this here. A digital clone, also called a digital twin or an AI avatar,
DT,
is an
Donald Trump.
interactive technology. Okay.
The twins. I mean,
The-
Gemini. Come on, man. It's all connected. I can't help it.
Yes. It's all the big rope. It's all the big chain pull. You know, they're digitally cloning us so they can predict us, so they can give us what we need. It's the Sith model. It's the opposite of the Jedi model. The Jedi model is stand back, take a breath, use the Force. The Sith model is order Uber Eats and play a video game. I don't know. I can't even build the Sith model side. But this is what it's based on. You're exactly right. It's about binary information. All this AI crap, it's still built on binary engagement because we are the processor.
Right.
If you listen to the Hopi, they do not touch any technology for a reason. They talk about this too.
Gonna get
They
your ass.
don't even have electricity. They were told not to.
Well, there's Hopi right now that are on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
you
there's
can listen. They'll tell you.
yeah, well,
Because they know
with
what
the
this
traditional.
is,
Same thing with the
what
Amish.
this is.
Yeah.
It's a copy of the natural. So they're told they do not touch any of this stuff.
Right. So let's look at this. Check this out. Let's get past the boring part here.
And positional that we all know and love today. Tally marks are the simplest counting system imaginable. However many things you have, you put down that many marks, easy as pie, but not very efficient. Meanwhile, based in positional, which is what we use today, uses a different symbol to represent different amounts of things. With the numbers 0 through 9, we can recognize that each symbol indicates a different amount
9
of
is most
things.
high.
If we need to represent something higher than 9, we add a digit to the left, roll its first digit back to 0, and start over. This
0,
system
1.
is very efficient compared to tally marks because each digit we add exponentially increases the amount of things we can represent. Because in this system we add a new digit every 10 things, each digit represents an increasing power of 10. This is the number of ones we have, the number of tens, the number of hundreds, the number of thousands, and so on. Now, this is probably something you already know, but it's very important to keep it in mind when we talk about binary. Now, binary works the exact same way as based in positional, but instead of each digit going from 0 to 9, it goes from 0 to 1. Counting upwards in binary sounds like this: 0, 1, 10, 11, 100, 101, 110, 111, and 1000. Because each digit of binary has only 2 values and not 10, each additional digit represents an increasing power of 2 rather than an increasing power of 10. So this is the number of ones we have, the number of 2s, 4s, 8s, 16s, 32s, 64s, 128s, and so on. Not nearly as efficient as base 10, but exponentially more efficient than tally marks. Literally. So now that we know how binary works, let's talk about computers. Why did the first computer creators, as wise and intelligent as they are, waste their time with such an ineffective system of counting? Well, it's because of a physical limitation on how computers work. Everything a computer does comes down to what's known as microtransistors. Simple, tiny, eensy-beensy little switches that can either be on or off and can be flipped on or off with a very weak electrical charge. The first goal was to get computers to count. And to get them to count by using these switches, we could use the tally system, meaning the number of on switches equals the number of things we have, or we could use the much more efficient system of binary, where each switch represents a digit of binary. 8 transistors using the tally system could represent a number as large as 8 by turning all of them on. With binary, we can represent a number as high as 255. An on switch means a 1, and an off switch means a 0. Now is a good time to mention that a single transistor is what's known as a bit, which stands for binary digit. A byte is 8 of these bits in a row, which means any number between 0 and 255. So if binary is just a system of counting, what do people mean when they explain how to spell things in binary? Well, what they really mean is how to spell things with ASCII. The American Standard Code for Information Interchange is a way to convert a computer's data, which can only be in numbers, and turn it into letters for humans to have an easier time to work with. ASCII simply assigns a character to each value represented by a...
You want to send a coded message to somebody? Do that. And then have them decode it. 01001010, 01001011, so on and so on.
And there's
And the
a
tally thing is
shocking,
also, yeah, good.
there's a shocking similarity to Morse code in the center of this as well.
Yeah, I could see that. And the tally marks is good for decoding as well. Here we go.
byte of binary. And because a byte has 8 digits of binary to work with, and 8 digits of binary can represent up to 255 values, ASCII had 255 letters and symbols to choose from, more than enough for the entire alphabet, punctuation marks, and other symbols. For example, the corresponding ASCII number for an uppercase A is 65. Now, 65 in base 10 is equal to 1,000,001 in binary. So whenever you type in an uppercase A in a word program, a coding program, or a scripting program or whatever, somewhere there's a little tiny row of 8 transistors arranged in the pattern of off, on, off, 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 on, which represents 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 in binary, which is interpreted as 65 in base 10, which is converted by ASCII into an uppercase A. You're likely starting to get a feel for the staggering amount of transistors required to write something as simple as a Facebook status, let alone all the different coding that your computer has to do to make the screen light up, play games, calculate massive values, and so on. Well, long before we got to the point where your phone can play 3-dimensional games, it became clear that numbers as high as 255 just weren't going to cut it. Regardless of how many bytes we had, and it was a lot, even adding 4 fully active bytes together could only get a number as high as 1020. To solve this problem, new computers were designed to recognize 2 bytes as one single number. So now instead of referencing one line of 8 transistors, computers could reference 2 lines, giving 16 digits worth of binary. This was a huge help because it increased the amount of representable numbers exponentially from 255 up to full, because your program isn't... Now that doesn't mean that a 16-bit system is exponentially that much more powerful, because your program isn't always going to be utilizing all of these numbers in each byte that it represents. It just has the option to, which opens up lots of doors. Well, this could go on for ages and ages, but I want to end this particular video right here so as not to be overwhelming. In future videos, I will explain how computers use these numbers to decide which pixel is what color on your monitor, what the different components of your computer are for, and how hard drives store binary digits on a spinning disk rather than in transistors. Thank you for watching.
All information is stored on a record, like Saturn, right? See the ring around Saturn? It's like a record player. It records everything we're doing right now is recorded in the ether.
Right.
So, right?
Yes.
So, Sheepdog, can you see if you can find something for me? I've seen this video before, and it is a down view of a city, and then a super microscope that's looking at a circuit board. No, a chipset, not a circuit board, a chipset, like a main processor. And the streets and the city layouts, it looks exactly the same. I think it was the newest Apple chip that I saw this on most recently. But it's not a striking similarity. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, they set up their towns like that.
Out of your the architecture
power grid in their communities.
I saw it on shorts on.
Yeah, that's how
And
they
the power
overlaid
grid.
this.
Yes, that's exactly the same thing. Can you
Yeah,
That's
can
how
you
they
find that overlay
overlaid
set?
that's what
The-
happened. It,
overlaid the original matrix.
that's what happened. It fried at some point.
Yes.
That's what fried the system and caused all this cataclysmic event
Yep. And
because
that's
everybody was hooked up to the circuit board, and the circuit board fried.
right, and that's what the Hope
And
is
that,
saying is going to happen again.
and they're saying it's going to happen again, right? That's why
well,
the
they're trying to
technology,
blame
when
it on sunspots. And some other,
right, solar flash or
they're trying to
whatever,
blame it on all that crap. Yeah, yeah.
right? hmm Like if you look at the movies, they tell you it's EMP or some shit, right? When you
Well,
look
so
at the
electromagnetic pulse is only EMP is only going to work in it. Well, right now it will work very well because everyone is lost without their phone. If you go back to the pictorial history of the Tartarian era, which we can find in like the fairs and all the world fairs, especially in the late 1800s and the early aughts in the 1900s, all of the energy was wireless and all of the information was wired. So it's exactly the opposite of what we have right now. So what I don't know what happened, but the melted realm is exactly where I'm heading. But there was an energy event of some sort that. Okay, let me back up a second before Sheepdog hits us with the exactly right video because he's so good at this. And we are not the most advanced society to live in our realm in the last 500 years. I am convinced of this. After 10 years of research down this line, I'm absolutely convinced of this. We can't go in the Grand Canyon. We've already covered that today. But there was an energy event that happened that was a realm-changing event, and it erased our previous society. And the reason is all the buildings were included in the matrix. So the bricks themselves were batteries. Just this last week, I saw someone saying, oh, we have bricks as batteries now. There is no new technology. Elon Musk is resurrecting hidden technology. That's the Boring Company is going to suddenly have millions of miles of a high-speed train out of nowhere. And that is a resurgence from our old technology. So what happened? I don't know. I think it might have happened as recently as 1860. There you go. That's perfect.
Greetings and welcome everyone to our Melted Reality, a place where I discuss the possibility of a major heated cataclysm realm-wide. The main questions usually are, where are we? Where are we from? What are we walking on? Did this cataclysm come from below or from above? In most cases, it still seems like it did come mostly from the bottom up. It does seem like we're living in a time, especially after 2020, more people are awake and everything is a scam. School system, politics, pretty much anything. Free thinking is the key to really understanding anything.
free thinking is the key. And if you see the circuit board frying, that's what happened on a major level. If you look at these as buildings, right? And these, see how the buildings are set up, bigger buildings, taller ones, just like a city, right, that we see today. But even
It
the
looks sort
past,
of like Lahaina. It looks sort of like Lahaina or Los Angeles or Paradise, California.
right.
Shows you the cities with the something.
Check this out.
So what we're going to try to do here is just go through some stuff and compare as usual. Will we ever know what happened, how it happened? Most likely not. But it's fun to just make fun of what we're taught and the things they push in our heads. Seems like there's some kind of electrical current event. Everything was circuit board like, and it fried.
That's still playing.
Don't know how or who or when, but it does seem recent.
All right, let me go back right here. Because see the board,
Mhm.
right? Motherboard. And they were by the water, just like our data centers have to be by the water, don't they?
And take a lot of water.
Keep it cool.
Everything was circuit board like, and it fried. Don't know how or who or when, but it does seem recent. Maybe 300 years ago or so. But there's so many examples of from different people and all combining together their thoughts, pictures, videos, and trying to get closer to some kind of conclusion of what happened. But no matter what, if you're looking on Google Earth, pictures from airplanes or whatever, it seems like this whole place was a motherboard. Who's controlling it? Who destroyed it? What destroyed it? That's a whole nother conversation. I appreciate everybody being here, and thank you. I'm going to start with a post from Deborah Simpson. It's kind of a definition of meltology, brickology. I think it's possibly AI generated, asking questions to AI and came up with this. Meltology, brickology is a forensic study of ancient architectural structures, particularly red brick and stone formations that appear to have undergone extreme transformation due to cataclysmic events such as an intense heat, energetic discharge, or plasma phenomena. It points that many so-called natural geological features, such as cliffs, caves, mountains, and fossil-like formations, are in fact the remains of advanced architectural infrastructure, often built from modular red brick or similar engineered material. These structures appear to have melted, fused, or been recrystallized due to some massive worldwide event. Often theorized as an EMP-like energetic overload of Earth's electrical system, what researchers refer to as the motherboard Earth. Brickology, meltology focuses on the thermal deformation of these red brick structures, warping, sagging, bubbling, vitrification, glass-like surfaces, bricks that appear to have turned to stone or fossilized, heat-shattered vaults, arches, spires, and facades embedded in cliff faces. This field combines visual forensic analysis, especially photographic, energetic, and material speculation, examples, dielectric brick theory, architectural intelligence, how energy design was encoded in form, catastrophic and metaphysical history, example, resets, grid failure, human renaissance. It challenges conventional geology and archaeology by asserting that much of the Earth's natural surface is the melted and fossilized ruin of a high-technology architectural civilization. So I thought that was a pretty good example of a definition of kind of what we're looking at. Have the remains of all these structures, but it's just a little tiny bit of what once was. It's really incredible to look at. It's more incredible to think about. What did these structures actually look like? Just immense. What kind of heat, energy? Where did it come from? Why? These little pockets of survival everywhere, these buildings, and they just plug narratives on them from hundreds or thousands of years ago, building on tops of thousands of feet up, by donkey and carts and chisels and all the crap they feed us in schools and on Google or wherever you look up historical narratives. All right, somewhat switching gears a little bit. A few weeks ago, I watched a video from John Levi, and he brought up this map. And it really interested me too, because it was a place where I visited a couple of years back. So this map says 1761. Now, obviously, all the narratives are pretty much BS. So when you find another earlier, say this map of a date. So this star fort that I've been to here, 1761, he's pointing at here, and it's actually on this peninsula. So when you Google that, Fort Pensacola, it comes up Fort Pickens, which that's what it is now. So after seeing John's video, I'm going to bring this back up. That fort is said to have been built in 1834. So you have a map from 1700s that displays this 21.5 million brick star fort. Now, which one is it? They've changed history so much they can't even keep up, really. Here's where I was just trying to divide the 600 bricks per pallet and got all those threes, and 5/8 is my birthday. That was kind of weird, but just impossible builds. And they had the fort on the map right above this peninsula, but it's actually right here. They have two dates of 1761, 1834. I want to go back and check that structure out. The place is immense. It's half the peninsula is this star fort with other structures all over it. Just didn't have time that day to go, but when I go back, I'm definitely going to check it out. It just, all these bricks is just incredible. Done by slaves, they say, of course. And the fact is that many people just don't have time to or want to research anything as far as these narratives. They just go to these sites and look around and, oh, it's from the Civil War. Half the time, they don't even know that they say that slaves built it in the early 1800s. Just impossible from the narratives they give us. Of course, it's before power tools and all that jazz, and they have donkeys, and they just create this. But really, the fact of the matter is, you don't have to believe that there's a heated cataclysm, even though there's a ton of evidence all around you. But you can't believe the stupidity of the narratives that you look up on any historical site, any of them. They change things so much to begin with. And second, the narrative they give us, where we're pretty much all cavemen up until the Industrial Revolution, it should insult everybody's intelligence. Here's a few shots from Russia, circuit board-like structures. What did all this used to look like? Look at the frying effect, melting effect all around it. Out in the middle of the water, out in the middle of nowhere, of course. It's just what they did back then. They have to protect nothing. You can just follow all the way around. You can see little pockets of melting. Stuff kind of leaning over. Almost completely wiped out and gone. This kind of stuff is all under the ocean. Most of the stuff has been scrubbed. Noticeable stuff on Google Earth. If you're looking out in the ocean. But here, what would cause this? So what do they tell the locals? This was all chiseled out, these little tiny windows. For what? Your pet rat? And you can see the terracing is just going down, melting down here, barely left over little holes. You know, they were at some bigger windows or whatever they were before here, and they just slowly disappear. And this is probably what they say is all natural, all this stuff here. So you can see that it was some kind of structure. Red brick looks like still left over down here. Devastation and rubble all under it, melting from under itself. This is now geology. Well, I mean, that's what they call it, geology. It's fakeology. I think you could even believe it more if they said, hey, this is like an anthill, and 1,000 years ago, there were huge ants and they just burrowed all this. That would be more believable to me. Just structure that's just totally in ruins. All this in the background. Look at that. This is everywhere. Pyramid-like straight lines up and down. All I have to do is kind of just look at this. I can make excuses of some kind of earthquake or something bowing this up. But who would construct like this? Look at this. It's a mess. Nothing's level. To me, all this just bowed up in this intense cataclysm, whenever that was. A fried motherboard. That's all it looks like. Now we're going to go into a share from Maria. It's in the Czech Republic. I think the narrative says something about possibly this part here was built 200 years or so ago, you know, whatever on that. But I like this example because you can see the sloping of the so-called rock, all of it, this whole hill. And I don't think this was built 200 whatever years ago. I think this is just left over, and then they plug a narrative as far as, so they built a bridge right there, much needed. You know, you can go from here to here. You can look out. You know, it'll just take us ever long to do that. Okay. This slope here, this is just a wall. This over here changed a little bit more. And then you have this left that didn't turn completely into blocked up geology, fakeology. Now you got to really be bored back in the day to say this wasn't here. And this is leaning like almost 45 degrees everywhere. You're like, hey man, you want to help me build this bridge from here to here? Why? Just bored. I got like a lot of donkeys and stuff, and we can gather slate and rocks and make a hell of a bridge just to walk over here. It slipped in my folder somehow, but look, why in the hell would you do this? And forget about this down here. Look at this. What's up here? Where's the water fountain? I mean,
All right. So, I mean, we can stop it right there. He's just going to talk about some more buildings, and but I think we get the point, right? And that's why we're so concerned about these data centers and what they're doing with all this energy they have to build with these nuclear power plants and all this reckless shit, because they didn't learn from history. That's why they erased it, so that we keep repeating the same shit. And I'm tired of repeating the same shit. We've been here in the beginning, we're here in the end. We got to correct everything in between.
They say the
Can I give a hopeful perspective for a second?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the Bereshit, Beresheet, the Bereshit prophecy, it says that there is a turning of ages that happens on a 26,000 year cycle, and that is supposed to happen any day. And the Bereshit prophecy, though very old, sort of lines up with the fifth dimension Arcturian stuff that you can find on BitChute. But the Bereshit prophecy is Noahistic. And the Noahistic teachings go all the way back to Noah. So before Noah, there was never rain. That's why everyone was so convinced that Noah was a drunk, was because he was talking about this rain thing, right? And no one had ever seen rain before. So my point is that if I go back and I can go to the Hopi prophecy of the four winds, there's a Cherokee prophecy also, but all of them say the same thing. And there's a celestial prophecy that is the one that is the most pertinent here, because nothing can stop what is coming is celestial first. The thing the reason they keep covering our skies with a loom of clouds, which the Hopi prophecy talks about specifically. In the end times, the skies will be like spider webs, is the exact quote. The Spider Woman. The seventh turning of our is not a killing of everyone. The Noah flood is a turning of our realm. It was a flooding of the realm, and there's a number of Hebrew texts that speak to this, which I've read the translations of on my channel sometime in the last 700 shows. I think it's under the Old Scripture Library. But my point is that don't fear this. This turning of the realm is not supposed to be everybody dies. Now, Q says, and I'm not a Q guy, but Q says the ending is not for everyone. So that means everyone's not going to make it. And I don't know, is that the jabbed? Is that the Joel Osteen churchgoers? Is that somewhere in between? I don't know. Is that all the politicians and the doctors who pushed it? I have no idea. I have no insight to this. I do know that not everyone is going to make it to the next level, because that's just the way the video game works. We've just got a deep dive on the striking similarity between a structural motherboard and a major city.
That's why you have to raise your vibration in order to make it through when the frequencies change and we shift. Just like the Hopi that came from the bottom, like that song says, we started from the bottom and now we're here.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
My whole team is
that's
here.
the point I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to make. The fear cycles are so pervasive right now. It's heading into the holiday season when we're supposed to be all happy. That just step away from it, right? Because if it can't steal your energy, it can't survive. The motherboard doesn't burn to the ground if there's not an excess of energy, and we're giving it that energy. The holiday season show, the first of the holiday seasons we're going to do, I just beseech you to give your energy to something human, a tree, a dog, a relative, a turkey. Cook it the right way.
Exactly.
Just go in with a different vibration this year to your family meetings and whatever. Be that lighthouse, right? You can change the energy in a room, man.
Yeah.
You know, so don't go in there with this energy from this political shit show, because that's not the good energy you need. You know what I mean? Because this ain't done nothing but cause more problems. And right now we need to unify more than ever, so that we don't lose everybody. Because like Gandalf said, everybody's going to make it. Fear kills. Look at COVID. All they had to do was tell you were sick on TV, and everybody ran to the doctor. That's how easy it is, right? And I'm not picking on anybody, all right? Because my brother did it. Everybody's done it, and everybody's got some in their family, right? But I've survived thousands of rounds of shots in the military, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to pull through on this. I don't think they're, as bad as they say it is. I think something else took place there. Like the protocols in the hospital. So they put you in fear, told you all your symptoms, which we all have every symptom that they tell you, no matter what big pharma commercial you see. You get in that doctor's office and they give you a death sentence. Hit you with the protocols, hit you with the remdesivir, hit you with the damn. They stacked so many damn bodies. They weren't smart enough to say, "Hey, wait, maybe we should stop." No, they kept going.
Yeah, they haven't listened to it.
Right. So a lot of people's listening to a lot of hot shit. Some people are going to take themselves out because they're not going to be able to live with themselves when the truth comes out. of what they took place. They could have saved more lives in these hospitals, and they
Well,
didn't.
they already have.
Right. So, but
Okay, so I want to speak to that for a second. That's a super duper important point. If you are listening to this podcast and you are part of a government agency that was supposed to help the homeless, or you are part of a medical organization that was supposed to help people during COVID, if you're part of a police enforcement unit that did things they shouldn't have done, and without you knowing it, you did some shit you weren't supposed to do. This is a process called truth and reconciliation. And you can do that all on your own. You can go walk in the field and hug a tree. You can, I recommend you do not go to a building that is a church of some sort in your religion. Go do this by yourself. The spirit of inner standing. The spirit of inner standing. I will totally channel Mike Penny during this rail, because he and I used to talk about this all the time. The spirit of understanding is a courageous stance. You're living in this right here. Look at the screen. That is a motherboard in a city, and you're plugged into the matrix. So the way you unplug this holiday season is that you play a board game. You have a basket in your house where when they walk in the house, everyone in the house has to put their phone in a bucket. That you can't have a conversation with someone who's not physically next to you. This is a great rule. This is a great game rule. You can't talk to anybody. You can't text. You can't update your status. You certainly cannot take a picture of food and post it on Instagram. I challenge everyone here to disconnect.
Gandalf,
Oh, no,
you're gonna short circuit everybody.
I love the holiday season. I can piss on a bunch of fires all at once. So our ability to unhook from this, is based on a family engagement, people. A family engagement. So, oh, well, my family, we're going to do a Zoom meeting. You're not part of our audience if that's probably your primary goal. But my point is, this is real. Look at the stacks. That's RAM chips. That's yes, this is the same thing. You're plugged in, right? Unplug by spending time with people, actual humans, or dogs, or horses, or mules, or chickens. I fly in the face of this.
Or sheepdog.
Sheepdogs require treats. Yes. So I'm just going to say the same thing again and again here. We have to break the matrix, and the way we do that is with personal engagement. However you get to that, solving that problem in your holiday season, I recommend buying less from China, finding a local grocer, a local farmer, a local butcher. Get back in the game, people, and the game is human, not technology.
There you go.
Oh,
also,
sheepdog.
You can spend time with the birds too. Don't forget the birds.
No, don't forget the birds. We have a lot of birds here, and we're very foul. Sheepdog, I would like to throw a marker in the schedule, because to honor Mike Penny, we have to do a Christmas show this year and talk about what Christmas really is. Will you do that with me in a couple of weeks, please?
Yeah, I don't mind telling us. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. We'll see.
We've got some stuff too.
I got some stuff, but I'd like to do something different. Maybe not like the same old shit that we've been talking about. Because we do this every year, right? You either got it or you don't got it.
We have a different
Santa
audience
is
every
Satan.
year.
It's the Satan Claus, right?
Santos Fibonacci talks about the Santa Claus actually being comes down from the claw stone down, the oil rises up.
Right.
Dark brings the present to your funeral going. That's a good one.
Right. Yeah, you can do the spiritual aspect, the inner part of what Christmas really is.
Yeah.
The Christ.
Yeah, I mean,
mast.
There's so many directions.
You go up the mast. The mast is on the what? Sailboat, right? And when you're in the military, you can go to in the Navy. They call it captain's mast. That's when you're in trouble.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Wait,
anyways,
wait a minute. You're talking about your relationship with Christmas?
oh, there you go. It's a shit show. Total shit show. Mothership. How come the fathership ain't coming? I never heard anybody talk about the fathership, but everybody's talking about the mothership. It's weird, ain't it?
Right.
The
Well, yeah.
You're
fathership
waiting
is
on
an
Spider-Man and
alimony.
Spider-Woman showing up.
Fathership is an alimony payment, sheepdog. They've destroyed the family.
That's funny how they exclude the mother from everything, but they know what a mothership is. They know what a motherboard is.
Yeah, I'll have to repost that. On like watch today. This man was talking about the women would bring back that the women would fight off the evil one.
They're doing it right now.
Yeah.
That's the return, right?
Yes.
The women are the ones that are collectively. If you look at, if you really took a tally, men to women, we would probably be 80%.
Okay, that one.
20,
That
I
one.
would think.
It talks about the male female.
Like this one right here. Here, let me pull this up. Oh, I already stopped sharing here. Let me share this real quick. Here we go. Let's pull this up right here. You're talking about. Let's go to this video. I think it's
So
Grand. Is it
We've
this
been
one?
discussing warlocks, failed initiates, but we haven't really touched on.
Let me start it over. Here we go.
We've been discussing warlocks, failed initiates, but we haven't really touched on why women are so essential to their survival. See, a warlock's inner world is chaos wrapped in power. A woman's inner world is coherence wrapped in intuition. Put them together and the natural polarity fires. She calms, he rises. She grounds, he intensifies. She organizes, he amplifies. To him, she feels like the missing half of a broken circuit. Not a lover, a regulator. Not a trophy, a charger. Not a fantasy, a power source. And that's the attraction. The warlock is not after her sex. He needs the energetic regulation. Her presence quiets the storm he can't control. Her intuition balances power he can't hold. That's why he makes her his target, because she's the only thing he can't create for himself. Yang say peace.
And that brings us to the opening with the red and the blue, the male and the female, the divine feminine, divine masculine energies,
So they make the purple.
right? The twin flames, the Geminis, right? The twins, separate. This ain't digital.
Right. With the original.
This ain't no DT.
Original.
This ain't no
So
410 or 10.
The strongest natural fabric is silk. Let me say that again. The strongest natural fabric is silk. Silk can be almost invisible, but stronger than iron if the right spider is in the right realm. You know, the spiders in the Amazon make different silk than the spiders that spin between corn stalks in Georgia and the Carolinas. It's a different silk. And who's the one council member in the indigenous, possibly Jedi? Who's the one female member? What's she called? The Spider Woman.
Yeah.
What a great tie-in, sheepdog.
Pretty good show. Pretty good presentation tonight, I believe.
Yes, sir.
I know it's a lot, but everything's connected, right? Nobody's separate from the mother and the father. We are one with that. So don't let anybody tell you you're taking God out of this. That's impossible. Everything's God, the creator. What are you talking about? If I got that kind of power, then shit, I would have done changed all kinds of other shit. Right? So
So the name of God has changed in every era. And in this current realm, it's called Siri, Alexa, Microsoft,
Grok,
Grok.
Chat GBT. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, ask Grok. They always on X. Hey Grok, is it true that so and so did so and so? I'm like, dude, y'all can't go look this shit up. You can't go search for yourself. You're gonna keep asking somebody for it. So now you're asking AI to give you the answers, right? See,
Because
instead of you taking that to the creator.
we're becoming a lazy society.
So So fast forward 20 years from now, and everybody's going to be Grok educated, and that's going to be
Yep.
dangerous.
Yep.
Or Siri, or whatever the damn you call. That thing that you tell her to wake up. Hey Siri, how the hell she hear you if she wasn't listening?
That's right.
Like that movie, what's it called?
Oh shit, you went blank.
Yeah, I did. Idiocracy.
Okay, there. Yeah, that's it. Go watch the movie Idiocracy, and don't look at it as just a movie, but look at it as prophecy.
So I had someone hand me a DVD of that movie yesterday. That's
Go
a
pop
very
it in.
interesting poll.
Oh man, you're gonna love it.
I've never seen it.
And then while you're watching it, envision the UFC fight on the White House lawn.
It's funny,
Oh, geez.
it's like
Oh my god! I'm gonna need to buy some good bourbon for that.
it's good. It's good. You'll like it. It's funny.
Well, sheepdogs, I so much appreciate you guys being here. I have to migrate and go cook dinner. I'm at 2 hours, which is my Tuesday night threshold. Are we doing a show on Thursday? Because I can come up with some holiday crap around this same topic, which I'd love to do again.
Well, this is my mom's last, probably her last Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I'm not doing shit tonight yet. I'm done for a few days.
Good for us. I love that answer. I have a roast to cook.
Yeah. So, we'll still be in contact in the Telegram chats and stuff like that, because there's people that, that are going to be spending it alone. And like you said, Gandalf, the mental health issues, I'd really take that seriously, especially in our tribe. And I try to keep that in mind of people that, maybe spending that alone, to try to make it a little bit better for them, So we will do a little morning thing, but other than that, it's just going to be, like you said, unplug, go hug a tree, go spend some time with your dogs, or and then come. That way we can come back regenerated and ready to rock and roll Sunday night, or whatever the Tuesday next. Yeah. So.
Sunday.
Yeah. So.
So I want to throw a bone to anyone who's going to have to spend this holiday alone. Here's something you can do in your community, and I've been doing community outreach for decades. Homeless veterans was my specialty for 20 years in Orlando. Here's what you do. You tomorrow on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, which I swear used to be last week, Mandela effect, find a place to volunteer. If you don't, you're not going to cook for yourself, because that's the most depressing thing ever. You got no invite and you're feeling mopey. Go find some place to volunteer. Go feed other people. Go on one of the stupid social networks, pick your network, find a local group, and drive old people to their parents or their kids' houses. And I guarantee you, by the end of the night, you'll have a table to sit at. Go engage. Don't sit home and be a mopey rope. That's a 50s term, by the way. So I don't know if that will help anybody within the sound of our voice, but if you're stuck by yourself, go get engaged with humanity. And the first thing you can do is volunteer. If you go to church, go down to the church and say, I want to help feed the homeless. Or I'm sure we're doing that this year. And if your church isn't doing that, you should find another church.
Damn, that's a good point,
Don't
Gandalf.
get engaged.
That's a good point. That's a good way of putting it. Really is.
Well, before we wrap up, we want to play a little song. Bird and I wrote a Gandalf song, so we want to debut it tonight on your show if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
All right, great show tonight, everybody. Appreciate everybody showing up, and here's the Gandalf tunage.
Day starts way before dawn. In the dark, trolling through badlands, never acting like a pawn, pounding the keyboard with harsh commands. Sun is starting to peek through the trees. Ranch chores not even on the list. Chickens clucking like little bees, rounding up chicken guard Eckstein's best. He can hear the mules kicking up dust, Prince and the leather revolution. Carrots and apples a must, ride Sally ride. Mucking stalls 25 hours a day, mountain ranch life is the solution. Pitchfork heavy full of hay. Here's the story of the shepherd of the flock. Wizards bringing him up, both of them hair and white locks. The youngest one is a little diva to the grand wizard. Time is a human construct, disposes his phone in a fiery cage, is not to be disrupted. Top golfer on the links hole in one after choreography, driving for show, putting for dough. Content to full circle, homemade ranch, making candy juice, turpentine, special made bourbon branch, pulling in two from air, just fantastic on purpose, baby. Another day living in paradise. He's not a Hasselhoff unless you're a bird. His AI will not scoff, Cassie will be heard. Wizard steps off you with a skip to my loo. He's not a Hasselhoff unless you're a bird. His AI will not scoff, Cassie will be heard. Wizard steps off you with a skip to my loo. Wizard Gandalf, speaker of apocryphal scripture, we follow your lead.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Durandal.
Hang on, let me end the show. Hang on.
Wizard out.
Wizard out.